on the channel declare fair use of any and all content. That's any and all content to be used for the sole purpose of informing you, the viewing family, of information for educational purposes, criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and general knowledge only. And let's not forget the entertainment value. Section 17, subsection 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known herein as the Fair Use Act. Okay, and that includes the music. So put that in your pipe. Alrighty, let's get over here. Get that disclaimer off of there. And we got a couple things I want to touch on today. Yeah, different view, huh? Much different. Get to see my knees. Anyways, and my little closet. Anyways, good to see everybody. Let me go over here and say hello to everybody. Griff, good to see you. Audacious Amber, good to see you. Jonathan Daly, good to see you. Woo Rider, good to see you. Freaky Geek, good to see you. Alrighty, who else we got in here? Yeah, and it's not going to let me go back to see. Well, if I missed anybody, I apologize. I will catch you sometime in this podcast. I put out a notification the other day to everybody saying that I was going to start alternating the Into the Red Rabbit Hole with Nighthawk Supernatural by the Fire, which is going to be all the Native American lore, all the stories of the monsters and the mysteries that were here in the Americas long before Columbus or even the Vikings or even the other European descendants came here. Okay, so that's going to be a good one. And believe me, if you're not ready to have the crap scared out of you, then you might want to avoid watching next Friday, okay, at 10 o'clock. So, Juno, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Darcy, good to see you. There's a lot to be said today about what's going on in the world, okay? And I wanted to come on tonight and just, I want to ask everybody how much they have heard about the guy that was in New York City on Lower Manhattan outside of President Trump's court case, heard of a man setting himself on fire in front of the courthouse with literally dozens upon dozens, if not 50, 60 police officers around and presidential security. The young guy set himself on fire. You know, and that got me to thinking. You know, there's a lot to be said. He was a conspiracy theorist. You know how they label certain people that question everything as in being conspiracy theorists. Okay, but you know, a lot of what he said kind of made sense in his papers that he left behind. And we all know that there is a certain cabal that believes they are in charge of us and feels that they can force themselves down our throat every freaking minute of the day and take our freedoms away. We all know that, okay? Whether you call them the military industrial complex, whether you call them the shadow government, the reptilians, you know, it doesn't matter, the elitists, you know, just the 1% of the top 10%, you know, it doesn't matter. Illuminati, you know, whatever you want to call them, okay? The Illuminati is a real thing, okay? And, you know, they at one time infiltrated the Freemasons, okay? But we have since then removed them from any type of activities with the Masonic Lodge and the Masonic Order, okay? But that doesn't mean that they disappeared, okay? There's dozens, literally dozens of other, um, shall we say, exclusive clubs and groups and organizations to infiltrate. The International Odd Fellows, the Eagles, the Moose. I mean, there's so many different groups out there that you know, and even in Flintstoneville, you got the water buffaloes. I used to love that. Anyways, they seem to have control over certain aspects of our lives. Okay, and what I wanted to hit on tonight was, is MK Ultra and Manchurian candidates, are those type of individuals being used in today's society? Okay. Um, I, for one, think that yes, they are being used. Okay. Um, I can't say for sure, 100% conclusively, but I mean, from what I've seen in a lot of the stuff that I did in the military, and what I've done throughout being a Mason, I can't say for sure that there is somebody ultimately in control of most of the groups. Okay. Now, the Illuminati has been a rogue thorn in the side of Freemasons for a long time. Okay. But they've also been an even bigger thorn to the Catholic Church and especially to the Pope. Okay. Because you have science based going against faith based. Okay. And we all know what happens when those two collide. Okay. Eric, good to see you, man. If you want to sign in, come on in. Um, just going to talk tonight a little bit. I'm only going to do about 40 minutes tonight because we're going to have a long day tomorrow, because I want to rehash some of this too. Um, but it just led me to think about a lot of the stuff that they do, like when Eric can tell you too, and any other veteran that's out there, Dave and Melissa can tell you. Um, when you're put through the rigors of getting into the military, from the entrance exam on, you are not allowed to be you anymore. You are now the government's property. Okay. And the one thing that I learned when I was in the military was there was no such thing as individuality. Okay. And that aspect, it was kind of like being on the reservation, and having outsiders try to come in and cause trouble, and all that. It would be, I would be very, very off base if I didn't say it was oriented kind of like being part of a Native American tribe, okay? Because it wasn't just one of us that we were worried about ourselves, it was the whole group, okay? When one person failed, they all failed, okay? So, and that's just what it is. Eric, how we doing?
Not bad, bud. Just got home from the first night of Jessica's play. Tomorrow's night two. Hey, war criminal. So I literally just walked in the door.
Hey, war criminal. Well, just take your time, man. Get situated, and this is not going to be a real long one tonight because I gotta get some kind of rest tonight. It's going to be a long day tomorrow. Um, I brought up the incident in Lower Manhattan, about the young man that set himself on fire. They showed the kerosene. He must have used the kerosene that comes in the gallon cans from like a hardware store or something, because they showed a tin can of kerosene. Um, and kerosene's pretty hard to put out when it's in your clothing. So he doused himself pretty good and set himself on fire. And I was kind of thinking to myself, that kind of reminds me of the whole Manchurian candidate type of a thing, an MK Ultra type of a situation with the mind control. and the brainwashing and all that. And I was in the military, and it made me think, they were pretty much from day one on boot camp, breaking you completely down to build you back up to something that they can use. Okay. And what I mean by they is our military leaders. Okay. So it's kind of reminded me of that, and the whole mystique around President Kennedy's assassination in Dallas, Texas. How there's always been rumors of more than one gunman, and all that, and the grassy knoll, somebody had to be there, and somebody thought they saw the security guy from behind him put the bullet in the president's head. There's so many things that can be brought up about that. Good evening, Val and Sue. Good to see you here. We want to take our guys, think that they're an honorable institution, but they are far from that. And unfortunately, it has spilled over into the military aspect of things, as we all see every day in the news. Okay. We're having to call out National Guard to cover police officers, and police officers to cover the National Guard, here at home. It seems ridiculous to me to think that a society based on what the principles were of a constitution would have more of a respect for everything around it, including human life. But unfortunately, it does not. Okay. The whole Manchurian Candidate thing, when that started, it wasn't just the military that they were trying to do it to. It was everybody, every citizen, because every time you turned that radio knob on before TV, or you turned that TV knob on for the first time, they had you. They had you, and they could program you any way they wanted to over the electronic boxes that were TVs and the radios. Now it's laptops, computers, widescreen TVs. They can put anything in there. They can do signal jamming that we wouldn't even hear. They could make you basically do whatever they want to. Kind of like having a remote controlled airplane or a car or a helicopter, and being able to control it from a distance. There was a guy in Arizona, I believe, or no, it was Nevada. It was Nevada, some small town in Nevada. He literally was interviewed, and I remember him in his interview. He had his cowboy hat had tinfoil on the inside of it, and he had tinfoil over his bedroom window where he slept, because he said he can't get any sleep because of all the frequencies that the government was shooting at him. And I don't even know if the guy's still alive anymore. We hear these horror stories about this, we were paid a visit by the FBI or the CIA or the black suit guys, and you hear how they try to force people into doing what they want them to do and not the right thing. Do we still want to believe that MK Ultra and the Manchurian Candidate thing is still a theory today with the way things are going? I mean, if you think about all the mass shootings, there's just all kinds of things that can control people, So I don't know, Erica, what do you think about that?
Well, you also got to take into account of the Cold War. I mean, it was no secret that the Russians had sleeper agents, and certain little key phrases were said, which woke them up and they performed their deal. That's no secret. You really think that it was just them doing that? I mean, if
Right.
one's doing it, the other's doing it too. I mean, all these country world powers and stuff like that, they copycat each other all the time. So, I mean, that MK Ultra and stuff like that. I mean, could that be a branch of that?
Right.
Absolutely, it could be. It really could. I can't. Hey, Darcy, um, I can't dispute
Yeah.
that one bit because I mean, we all know. I mean, you and me, we've what's a good way of putting this on here? We know things that's not really known, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on out there that just you'd be surprised. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, they have weather machines, they have lasers in space that shoot down, they
Yeah.
have equipment that use sound. Hey, Love Cat, they have equipment that they can shoot at somebody that literally can either kill you, make you sick, or incapacitate you. So all that is well in that realm of possibility because with that stuff we know they have. That's not counting the stuff that they don't tell us
I
that they
start
have.
thinking too about, yeah, yeah. I started thinking too back about in the 80s when I was in that, you know, a lot of the stuff that was going on, there wasn't anything such as like the cyber attacks and stuff like that going on because we didn't have that much back then. But what they were using was the ricin. If you
Oh
remember,
yeah.
the ricin was being used to poison so-called double agents, and all that at the
Hmm.
time. I remember there was one case over in the UK where a spy or an alleged spy that turned from Russia and came to the US and the UK for to be a citizen, and to leave Russia. That they did,
Hmm.
it was alleged that they lived him, with ricin, and that was the thing
Hmm.
of choice back then to use, especially during the Cold War era.
But you also have that Chinese poison that you can put in a drink that gives you a heart attack and it's non-traceable. And there's several things, like you can take
Yeah.
wild cherry leaves,
Yep.
let them dry out, and they become arsenic. I mean, there's several things that you have access to that they can do. We also forget that Darren, even in back in your time, and even your time, the CIA had 5 minute mask. They can mask your voice, they can mask your appearance all within
Mhm.
5 minutes. Now they're up to the 15-second mask. If I remember, was it 15-second mask or 5 second mask? I forgot. Now they're up to that point,
15
which is
second.
even
Yeah.
proved. Yeah, it's even approved way more since your time in there. So I mean, could we be dealing with something like that? People putting on a mask. Look how many times something has happened, and supposedly these guys were taken out. Then you see them a few months later somewhere else. And it was like, hey, weren't you just a part of this? I mean, we have images of you that was, unalived in this situation, but here now they're singing at the Super Bowl that following year. Come on, guys. I mean, it's all out in the
Right.
open. Cryptid, how's it going?
Now let me bring this up too. Yeah, let me bring this up here too. Cryptoville, good to see you. War Criminal, good to see you. Love Cat, good to see you. Um, you know, what about cloning?
Mm-hmm.
Now, my whole theory on this is that sometimes it may be clones, or it may just be lookalikes like they use in Hollywood for the film industry. They try to make it look as much like the individual that's playing the role as possible, so they don't have to do their own stunts.
Yeah.
Um, I thought a lot about this, and the whole cloning concept is a very, very complicated process, to say the
Yeah.
least. And it could have been accelerated by alien technology. We don't know. But what about just the body doubles? What about people that are okay? Well, I might as well disclose it. So I'm going to do it later on after the podcast and have them on in the morning. But I was sent some pictures of the now president of this great country, once great country, that showed him getting the jab, okay, and it showed him another time side by side pictures. And this arm, okay, left arm, upper arm, this area right here were 2 tattoos.
Yep.
And the first tattoo was a compass and a square, like the Masonic tattoo, like the Masonic symbol on the top. And then down below, it looked like he had some kind of angelic, type of a tattoo. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you very much, my dear. We appreciate that very much. That's super sticker. Thank you. Yeah, we could use it too. But yeah, the second one looked like it was, I don't want to say, and it wasn't just one for wings. It was like 4 wings, and it showed legs. So I don't know if it was a representation of a fallen angel or something along that lines. I'm just not sure. Or it could have been even a military tattoo. To now that I think of it, because a lot of us use those too. It wasn't the same person that was getting the jab. It wasn't the same person. Because when he was getting the jab in the arm, and it was the same arm, they had the sleeve rolled up, and there was no tattoo. Okay, there was clearly no tattoo. Sue was the one that sent it to me. I'm not sure if she posted it in everybody's chat on our our chat board, but there is no way that it's the same individual. Okay, so either they have used the 15-second mask to cover up the true identity of this individual and didn't think about covering up the tattoo. Even the body and the body hair is different. Okay,
yeah.
The tattooed subject in the picture was clean shaven, didn't have any arm hair or anything like that. Clean shaven chest and all that. But he had the tattoos. The other picture of the so-called president getting the jab showed hair on his arm, discolorations on his arm, no tattoos. It was clearly not the same individual. So either they cloned him. Oh, thank you, Deja Amber. Thank you very much. That means a lot. Either it was, a clone or somebody impersonating. And we know that this has been going on for a long time now, especially within the last 3.5 years. You would think that by now we would have called them out on it. War criminal, thank you, man. Thank you very much, brother. That is incredible. Thank you very much.
You guys are amazing.
But I just can't get over the fact that it's so obvious that they're doing this, that they don't even try to cover it up anymore.
No.
So
but
it's like, what are they doing? What are they trying to pull the wool over our eyes for?
Yeah. You also got to think too. We think, oh, the first sheep was cloned in 1985. Man, they've been doing that stuff a hell of a lot longer than that. A heck of a lot longer than that.
Yep.
And body doubles, I can name you several dictators throughout history that done the very same thing. And it wasn't, and granted, not every single
Hmm.
time was clones, but the body doubles has been done for a very
Right.
long time, and cloning has been done a hell of a lot longer than what we've been told. I mean, 85 was
Hmm.
breaking the ice to let you know, hey, look what we can do. You know, now they're bringing back the woolly mammoth, the saber
Right.
tooth tiger, and they're even talking about bringing back Neanderthal. I'm like, my God, people, quit playing God. When you play God, things mess up. Now, one thing you people need to understand about these clones, though, these clones don't last very long. They break down very quickly, but that's why they can mass produce them. Oh man, I can't see it.
I don't know if you can see that.
No, I can't.
I
I mean,
don't
someone
I don't
else
see
can.
that.
I
Let
can't.
me see here.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways,
Yes, I
I'm gonna
knew right when you
upload this
said.
pictures that Sue sent
Mm,
me for tomorrow morning. So that way I can show everybody what I'm talking about. It's very, very interesting to me to think that, well, we know for fact that this society recycles itself every 3,000 to 6,000 years. Okay.
yeah,
And then mankind is taken back to the caveman day again and starting all over again. Because
yeah.
every time we get to a certain point with the technology, we always end up harming ourselves, and then them having the creator or creator, I want to call them,
Hmm.
EL, and they have to create us again. Um, it amazes me because we hear about, we see the on a lot of the writings and stuff of the India, over in India, about how all the wars in the skies happened above their heads, and they had all these displayed of
Yeah.
UFOs and stuff, and laser guided weapons and all that, and even nuclear weapons, back
Mm,
way back in history. And we've seen things dug up under archaeological digs that look like they were put there just last week. Um, they found watches, they found the hammers, they found all kinds of different stuff. Um, Even the Baghdad battery. I mean,
yeah.
there's no denying that they're not building one civilization on top of another deceased civilization, and this planet is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger because it's getting built on top of each
Yeah.
other. Is that why they're doing this? Is that why they're using disguises? Just take the disguise thing and try to
Hmm.
figure out why they would want to pull the wool over everybody's eyes in the entire world. What is their end game?
Yeah. I mean, and you got to think too. Um, if you actually study history, the Earth has been destroyed 4 times and restarted 4 times. Now, if you recall, when I did my show last last Sunday on ley lines, I showed you an image of how the Great Pyramid of Giza was actually a power station, and it was also used for communication and other stuff as well. So, I mean, they had this kind of technology
Mhm.
back then. So when you get to put in history, okay, the Earth's been destroyed 4 different times. We grew up thinking that they were primitive. They weren't primitive. we're seeing that stuff, and we're getting to that point again. Is there going to be another destruction? I possibly. I mean, I'm hoping my theory is going to
That
be different, and it'll be the last of the destructions. But it's not
that's
going to be a destruction
actually
that we think of.
yeah, that's actually a positive thing there though, because we're supposed to have another destruction. I mean, it's written in every sacred writings you can find throughout dozens of cultures. Even the Mayan talked about it, and the Hopi
Mm-hmm.
prophecies talk about it. Every indigenous nation has a prophecy about the end of times. Um,
Oh yeah.
but it's almost like I have this theory, and this is only a theory, okay? And I always say you guys question everything, and this is only a theory, okay? But I have this theory that I've been kind of keeping under wraps and doing my research on, um, which sounds kind of crazy, but then again, it doesn't if you think about it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
at least the way my mind works. Um, what about immortals? What about the
Yeah.
fact that we have so many people looking like people in the past, like
Mm-hmm.
Obama looking like an Egyptian pharaoh, or um, about the guy that played in. Oh, thank you, Juno, brother. Thank you very much. Um, they just there's talk amongst conspiracy theorists about the possibility of immortals being real. Um, I wouldn't think that that would be such a far-fetched thing to believe, because
Well,
you look at the history, um, and you have oh, what's that one guy that one actor that played in oh God, I can't remember the name of the movie now. Oh, I can't
I've
remember the
seen
name of the movie now.
photos.
But anyways, he always plays. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm brain farting on the name Nicolas Cage. I've seen pictures of Nicolas Cage when he was set back to a person from an old time. Now, how
Yeah,
accurate it is, I
Nicholas
don't know.
Cage.
That could be AI. But I mean, you got pictures of that stuff, and that's the thing is you can actually go through history and look at photos, and you can
Yeah,
find people that look like you. I've done it myself. So I mean, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to think too.
yeah.
Look
Well,
how
they
many
did
ancient
that.
civilizations talk
Yeah,
about
that.
immortals.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. And that's my whole point too. We of and how all the presidents are they're literally a certain bloodline. Every president
Yep.
that we've had has been related in some way, shape, or form to other presidents. It's like they're keeping the people in there and rotating them on purpose. Um, to me, I can't even, I don't even want to think that there are immortals, to tell you the truth.
Mhm.
Personally, I don't think anybody could be immortal. Everybody can die. Um,
Mhm.
we've seen it. I've seen the toughest of guys fall and not get up. Okay. My old man was one of them. Okay. Um, so there's so many things going around, but I do think there might be something to the immortal thing. I mean, I want to
Oh
put it
yeah.
on the back burner and say, you know what, it's too far fetched. It's you know maybe they're time traveling, maybe they're doing this, that, and the other thing. Well, that opens up a whole nother can of worms. Okay,
Yeah,
the
it's a
Montauk
possibility.
Project.
Mhm.
It doesn't end. it doesn't end, man. It goes on and on and on with all these damn secretive projects that the people that are supposed to be looking out for us are doing to us. Okay. Jonathan, good to see you. Hello, Melissa. I just,
Yeah, I mean,
it just blows my mind. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it all out, and it's constantly grinding the gears, and it's basically giving me a brain freeze. So I don't know. I can't fathom the whole immortal thing yet.
see, and the thing with the immortals, bro, is that is a rabbit hole that I'm not sure that we could ever get to the bottom of, man. Really, honestly, I don't know. There is so much stuff behind in that rabbit hole of immortals and time travel and how they all closely connect together. Dude, that's that's going to be a 2 or 3 show deal right there.
Right.
It's yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad to see Ozzy Sue in here
I
tonight. Does
just,
my heart good to hear
just
some more.
it just dawned on me. Yeah, it's good to see her too. Um, it just, and I'm gonna have those pictures uploaded, and I'm gonna show you in the morning on the morning broadcast what I'm talking about with these
Mhm.
pictures. Um, and I'm gonna see about finding more of them. Because there is just I just don't feel comfortable with saying that. Well, first off, our elections are completely rigged. Um,
Mhm.
you're not going to find anybody having a counting on getting their people that they pre-select in, and that's pretty much it. Okay. I don't think anybody, as far as elitist, whether they're in the Illuminati or not, or whether they're in the Skull and
Mhm.
Bones, or anything like
Yeah.
that. Um, I don't believe any of them have our best interest at heart. Okay. They
No.
have their best interest at heart. And their best interest at heart is that bloodline where they're all connected.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it. Yeah. I mean, it's my gosh, dude. I mean, it is unbelievable what you can actually find. I mean, history is full of so many things. I'm trying to remember another recent one I've seen that's pretty compelling too. But I've actually did it myself and looked at pictures of old people and found people that look like me. Now, I mean, that's been a few years since I've done it, and I don't remember how, but I had seen something on it. I was like, I want to try this, and I sure as crap, man, it was something. Was it something Google was doing at the time? I can't remember. There was something doing it at the time, and you plug in your photo, and it goes through photos of
Hmm.
people in history, and then bam, pops up people that look like you. Yeah, I don't remember much about it. And I was like, man, this is either A, they're full of crap, or B, pretty dang creepy. But then
Yeah,
again,
I
I
remember seeing a lot of yeah.
mhm.
The Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I've had my dreams are very vivid, very realistic. Like when I dream, my dreams are like I'm actually there. And I've had dreams before where I'm running through a prairie being chased down by cavalry and shot. And I was Lakota. I was a Lakota being ran down by U.S. cavalry and killed. And we were all running through a prairie. And I could feel everything. I could feel the sun. I could feel the prairie grass. I could feel when I got shot. I could feel the fear. I woke up with pain in my back where I was shot. Could that have been a memory of a past life? Absolutely. That's what started me on that path was the fact that I have
Yeah, I
dreams like
lost.
that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I can sympathize with you there. Of
Mhm.
course, I don't call them dreams. I call them visions. Um, and because that's what they basically are. It's the spirits talking to us. It's our ancestors trying
Mhm.
to let us know what it was like when they were, here. New podcast too. Nighthawks Supernatural by the Fire, which is going to alternate with this program every week. And I'm going to start bringing what we warned people about all those hundreds of years ago that came to
Mhm.
this land, to have eyes in the back of their heads and to sleep with one eye open and not to go into certain areas. I'm going to start bringing those tales back so everybody can hear them.
Mhm.
There's a lot that we take for granted in our world today. Okay, Corey, good to see you, man. There's just so much, and we tried as indigenous people to warn the Wasichus that were coming from Europe.
Mhm.
Um, and Wasichu just means taker of fat, by the way. Okay, or it's our word for white man. Okay,
Mhm.
um, the legends. We have water monster legends. We have legends of giants. We have legends of little people. We have legends of evil gnome looking creatures called water babies. We have all
Mhm.
kinds of different things. We have legends of elementals, legends of bear man, of man, all different types of legends. Okay, um, from every aspect of the native culture. Okay, and those are the ones I'm gonna be getting into. The Wendigos, the Skinwalker stuff. Those are going to be two very, very sensitive subjects, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Okay, and
Mhm.
as long as I have breath in my lungs, I'll be able to talk about it. But if immortals are real, okay, just take for instance, if immortals are real, how would we know
Right.
other than history books? That's the only thing. I mean, how would we know that that person is lived 500 years ago? You know, how would we know? I mean, if they're changing
Mhm.
or try and they're staying in certain areas to make themselves more prominent in society and more influential to the normal humans, how are we going to know what an immortal is?
Yeah.
It's not like we can go around and unalive people and see if they stand back up. I mean, it's just where does it begin and where does it end with immortals?
Mhm. Yeah. Look
Let me
at
see.
Saint
Yeah, kind of
Germain.
like
I mean,
Highlander. Yeah, Corey, that's right.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And look at Saint
yeah,
Germain. I
Saint
mean, Saint
Germain.
Germain is popular in history and in modern stuff like anime and even video games. If he's being mentioned in so many things, there's got to be some level of truth to it. I mean, Saint Germain has been mentioned in so many genre of stuff. It's not even funny. Yeah, Jonathan, fallen angels are.
Jonathan. Yeah, I just noticed that too.
Yeah. Look
Thriller
at that.
James says I'm a grim.
I'm fluffy. I'm just a fluffy hillbilly, man.
Oh man.
Oh man. But I mean, look at the that Sumerian emperor who ruled for 16,000 years. Um, My gosh, I forgot the name off the top of my head. Not Inky.
No, he was the first king on the king's list.
Yeah, but I mean, this was not.
I
I mean, there was
I
another one
think
that
he ruled
ruled
for
for
seven.
four.
There was the first. Yeah, there was one that ruled for 76,000 years, the first one, and
Mhm.
then the next one ruled for 16,000 years. So,
I think I even recall one that ran or ruled for 47,650 years, something like that. If I recall. Oh, okay, you got it good. I was trying to get caught up on that with you,
and
but I mean,
also,
Corgan.
also though, you have to take in consideration too, though, Eric, how there
And
was
look, thank
originally
you.
meant to be 13 months in a year, not 12. So,
13-month calendar with 28 days follows the lunar cycle, which, if you notice, a woman's menstrual cycle is also on a 28-day period, which follows the lunar cycle. We're all supposed to be on that. And that's my theory. And I pointed this out in this show and my show before. My theory of reason why we went to 12-month and 30 and 31 in a 28-day calendar is to throw us off our cycle, because that takes us away from the being in tune with Mother Earth and with nature and the cosmos. We need to get back into that mindset, get back to that connection, be back in that circle. We're all, we say it all the time, we're all part of the great circle of life. And when you're taken out of that, yeah, there you go, Cordy. Turtle shell. Inside scales are 13, outside is 28. 13 and 28 in the universe is two very, very important numbers to remember when you're dealing with the universe. Very powerful, very important numbers to remember. Not all of them, Darcy, but the most common one is, and this was before a lot of stuff got pumped in your system. That was what all of them pretty much followed, was the 28-day lunar cycle. Hey, Jessica, it's nice to see you. So I mean, that's something we have to think about when we're taken out of nature, and we're taken out
hey,
of
Jessica.
Edie. Whenever you find the info on doppelgangers, finding ours, please let us. Sue, now doppelgangers, you can actually find a lot of stuff on doppelgangers. There's a lot of stuff in it. You'll have to dig though, because it's like I've noticed since I've been doing a lot more for my research, things I've found in the past are getting even harder to find now. But a doppelganger is, I mean, there's a couple different theories behind that. Is that somebody from another dimension that's crossed over when our two dimensions have collided, and that's the reason why we're seeing a doppelganger. The other theory is that a essence of us from our past or future who's now here as well. I mean, there's a couple different theories on that, Sue. So there's a lot in tell and a lot you really got to get into to get to that source. But I'll try to do some. Now, just kind of a hint. Sunday, I'm doing one show on Lilith, and the reason why is because when I about 10 years ago, when I started researching vampires, the oldest vampire story I found, and I believe it was from the no, yeah, it's from the Torah, was Lilith surviving off the souls of the dead children. And so I'm going to be doing a show on that. Now, when I tried to get my notes ready for the show, I've been working on it for a couple of days. I got to the point where I couldn't find a lot of that stuff that I used to be able to find. So when you're doing research on that stuff, so you always got to keep that in mind. You really got to dig. And I stress this all the time: history. Learn your history. Anything dealing with cryptids, supernatural, paranormal, anything like that, learn your history, because it's in history. All of it is in history, and that's extremely important to learn history. So
Yeah, true. History always repeats itself. That's why it's important.
yeah,
But yeah, it just dawned on me though, with this kid setting himself on fire, And the whole
Mhm.
premise of that, and he wasn't a kid, he was a grown man, that set himself on fire, but he was a conspiracy theorist. He wasn't really into it heavily like I am or you are.
Mhm.
He did his research, and he just wasn't as prominently known. And I kind of want to say, you know what? There's things happening in the world today that a certain group of individuals are trying to control. And why they're trying to control it, I can't help but think in the back of my head, it's because they are immortal. Okay.
Yep.
They don't want to live in a world that's constantly destroyed. Okay. No matter how screwed up it is, no matter who's president, it always, always, always gets worse. Okay. And now finding out that all the presidents throughout history, every single one of them, from George Washington on down to Thomas Jefferson to Roosevelt to Clinton to Obama to Trump, they're all related. Every one of
Mhm.
them. And they've
Mhm.
all at one time done something very dastardly and covered it up. Every one of them.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man. If you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig, But
Oh yeah.
I just don't know. For me, it's it's the only thing that makes sense is the whole immortal thing. That's the only thing that makes sense to connect the dots.
Mhm.
They have to be some kind of immortal. Um,
Mhm.
we got so many people throughout history. Saint Germain. There is Dennis Quaid has a picture that looks like him from the
Mhm.
1800s. There is oh man, what's that? The movie with oh god, I got a brain fart now. I can't even think of the movie with Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is one that has a picture of him from like the
Mhm.
1300s. Um,
Mhm.
and Keanu Reeves, he's a good guy. He's a decent guy. He's
Mhm.
a real big supporter of indigenous culture. Let me tell you. Um, so for that, I respect the guy. But even his history, and and some of the other people in Hollywood's history seems to
Yeah.
repeat itself. And it's always the ones that are in these positions of power or severe
Mhm.
influence, whether they can influence politics, whether they can influence military strategy, whether they can influence commercialism, capitalism, and all that. The
Mhm.
stock market manipulation. Like it did the other day. When gold went up above $2,500 and came back down to 2430. I mean,
Mhm.
it's because they manipulated it. They pull back on the investing into it, actual amounts. So,
Mhm.
but there's just a lot going on that this some
The
aspects of
Matrix. Yeah.
it don't make sense, but other aspects of it do make sense. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yep. I'm trying to get caught up on the comments, folks. I'm sorry. Go ahead, William. Sorry, I didn't know you was hitting them, bro. I was trying to get caught up for you while you was talking. But yeah, I mean, well, I
That's
mean,
okay. I
look
was
at
trying to read Darcy's. Here, let me go back to Darcy's. There it is. Okay, leave
the one
Darcy's.
I got pulled up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Population it does count, but even at that, you know, way back when, several months ago, hell, maybe even last year, um, about midway
Take it
through
easy,
the
Drew.
summer, um, I came out with this theory of basically, the same basic understanding with immortalism. Um,
Mm.
but I wasn't able to connect all the dots. But I guess it does make sense with people in prominent positions. And how they say follow the money. Well, we could follow the money, but at the same time follow the bloodline too, and see where that money
Mm.
goes and all that wealth goes to. Okay, and
Yeah.
those are your immortals. That is,
Uh,
I don't know. It's just a thought.
a very good instance. I can't say the name on YouTube because we will get in trouble. A certain individual in a kind of a recent history doing some very bad things, and we've talked about it a few times, and the organization was mentioned in the chat earlier. There's been a lot of supporting evidence showing it's not his first time in history of ever doing what he did. The same is with Napoleon as well. So you got to think about that. There's a lot of supporting evidence that suggests that a lot of these people who do
Right.
these very bad things is done it throughout history in almost the exact same way. That's what's sad. They've done it the almost the exact same way every time. Yeah, I mean you're right,
Yeah.
Roxy, and I've
And
I've,
do you
I've
know
said it on
that
here
the
before. I've had
population?
friends. Oh, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, the population is decreasing. The population is decreasing. That's the thing. If it was all about controlling the masses, you know, some of the immortals, I almost want to break it down into different immortals, but also call them at the same time different species, because you have the human looking more, and you got the reptilian kind, then you got God knows what
Mm,
else,
mm,
and you got all these other things that are walking around. God knows if they're
mm,
immortal. I mean,
mm.
it's amazing to kind of to even think that even bring it up and show you. Let me see what I can find here. Um, Starting to get migraine-ish. Uh, let's see.
Freaky, there can only be one.
Right here, he says it very well. Yeah, he says it very well. You know, this William Tompkins, when he came out to the public about the Draco Reptilian and the Illuminati, how they're
Mhm,
all basically the same in the one, and they're eating children. Okay, now there
mhm.
was a United Kingdom woman that came forward last year or so about how the royal family was connected with certain, you know, Illuminati type of bloodlines that actually had
Oh,
these hunts on these young children hunts and make it
J-
through the course. They could, they could basically, live, be given a chance to live. But, she went through and said that there were so many children that didn't make it.
mhm. Oh, yeah.
And
You're
then
you're
we
talking
have
about
all
the
these missing
survivor.
children now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about Janet Osbred at first because she'd mentioned it too, but as soon as you said that it relit my memory. Yeah, that was that survivor who survived. That was a whistleblower.
Hmm. Exactly. exactly.
Mhm.
Now, like this young, I keep calling him a young man.
Mhm.
He's probably your age, which makes him a kid in my book. Um, anyways, you know, to set himself on fire. I mean, that's pretty dramatic. That's up there with like, you know, pulling the tails of cats off. You know what I mean? Or tying 10 cats together at the tails and watching them, you know, fight. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's that kind of morbid, twisted type of mentality. You know, um, I would never want to go out that way. Nope,
No,
nope.
I mean, there's
If I'm in a burning building and I'm
we
on the 18th floor, if I'm on the 18th floor of a burning building, Eric, I'm going to jump out that 18th floor window before I burn up in that building.
yeah.
I would rather die on the way down and hitting the pavement than to die burning to death. That's just me.
Yeah. And there's a thing, I mean, we can actually do a very long show about things that happen behind the scenes that people don't know about this. How do I say it without getting in trouble on here? This certain incident that's happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. And if people could actually see the true evil that is out there in this world and what they're doing, oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. It's that's right, Woo. There can only
There
be
can
one.
only be one.
I love them movies, man.
Oh wow.
Will Highlander.
Well, that's kind of, you know, I mean,
It's
what about that one movie? You know, that new clone movie that came out, that had oh, who played in it? I forget the guy's name that played in that, but where they cloned him, and they had cloning operations underneath churches, underneath the streets of the town, and all that, and how they were putting stuff in the food at the local food place like a McDonald's or a Wendy's or something, and how everybody was happy and laughing and all that. Um, you know,
mm,
who they cloned Tyrone was the name of the movie. But it actually made sense. What was talked about in that movie actually could plan out and come to fruition in society today. If you think about it, they have everything in position for cloning. Everything. Everything. They could do the cloning out in the middle of the national parks and we wouldn't even know it.
mhm.
We wouldn't even know it.
Amber has a question.
Let me see if my eyesight can read it.
Did they
This
say
is
why the guy lit himself on fire, or do you think it was
yes.
a protest? Okay.
No, they said that the guy he actually had a 1 gallon one of those square cans of fuel that we would use for like camping. It was in that kind of a silver can, a gallon jug, and I believe it was kerosene. It was either kerosene or it was something very, very flammable like it that generated a lot of heat because the officers that were standing 50, 60, 70 feet away from him could feel the heat from the flames. That's how much he set
Hmm.
himself on fire. Okay. Now, first off, you have to be very, very set to do something like that. That's pretty extreme. Okay. Even for me, that's extreme. Okay. And I've done a
Hmm.
lot of extreme stuff, especially in the military. But, you know, I'm never going to setting myself on fire. Like I said, if there's an 18-story building that's having a fire and I'm at the top of the building, I'm jumping off the building. I'm not going to burn up in a building. I'm jumping out the window. So that's just me. Okay.
Yeah. Amber says not what, why. She was wondering if it was like a protest or if he was assassinated. I'm guessing that's what you mean, Amber.
Oh, he wasn't assassinated. He was trying to basically, what he did was he had all these printouts, okay, and he was handing printouts all over the place in lower Manhattan outside the courthouse. Talked about conspiracy theories and how, these certain individuals and certain bloodlines and all that are influencing our way of life and controlling us and all that. And he handed them all out. And just before he lit himself on fire, he threw the remainder of them up in the air, and they just kind of all around, lower Manhattan, blew around down the roads and stuff. And he took the can and he dumped a whole can of them, and then he lit himself on fire. And it's just, I would not do that. Sorry, I do a lot of stupid stuff, but I would not set myself on fire.
And you also got to think one thing too. This ordeal that's happening with that certain Mr. T person has really shot a certain organization in the foot hard. Okay. This very well could be one of those scenarios that we see quite often. Don't watch here, watch here. Not saying it is, but yes, that is a very good possibility. Remember those monks that set themselves on fire to protest the Vietnam War, and they sat there until they were ashes? Rage Against the Machine used a photo of them. Oh yeah, Corey, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's been a lot of incidences like that. There have been incidences of Manchurian candidates actually doing a lot of the mass shootings around the country, especially at the schools. Because they talk about some of these people that they hear voices in their head, and that's kind of like the Manchurian candidate type of stuff. When you hear the voices in your head because of your programming, and your key trigger word is say your key trigger word is Fluffy. Okay. Well, Fluffy's going to go ape shit, and kill everybody around him because the key trigger word was used. Okay. And that's what they're doing nowadays too. And they did it back then, and back in the 80s and the 90s, and they're doing it again today. I guarantee it. It's the Manchurian candidate stuff. David knows. David's a vet too. Melissa's a vet. They all know, So yeah. Phil Schneider. Yeah, we discussed that. Yeah, we just discussed that too. Last week, didn't we? Yeah, Phil Schneider about the Dulce, New Mexico thing.
Yep.
There's so many people. If you're a whistleblower, they're going to get rid of you. Whether I don't care if they make a dozen laws up and put it on the federal books and to protect whistleblowers, they're still going to get rid of you. They just don't have use for whistleblowers. They are a thorn in the side of the people that are in control. I don't even want to use that term, people that are in control. Oh God, I don't even know what to call them. The cabal that's in control.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's Amber was talking about the monk thing earlier. That's how it caught my attention to it. But we was talking about something at the time. But yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff happens all the time, and why people do it, I don't know. I mean, why do a lot of people do a lot of things they do? Could it be a distraction? I mean, you're talking about them shootings, and that's what I was kind of hitting at earlier. was look at all the school shootings happening and all them kids that had died in that school shooting. And that year, the Super Bowl in that year, they were spotted in that choir singing. So that doesn't tell you, I mean, anytime a certain organization wants to push a certain type of deal, those things happen. So that's why William says this all the time. I say this all the time. Open your
it's
mind.
like this.
Question everything.
Yeah, it's like that
Go
whole
ahead, bud.
the whole space shuttle when the space shuttle Discovery, when it blew up, and they said that all
Mhm.
these astronauts and stuff and people that were, the one female teacher and and other people that were in the shuttle all died. Well, and no sooner than a year later was it discovered that they didn't die; they were just put back into normal society. That was a big staged event, apparently. And
Mhm.
then you think back even further about the whole moon landing thing. I mean, what
Yep.
is real anymore in our world? There
Yeah.
is such a thing called flesh and blood. You know, what is real? Where the lies begin and the lies end with our government. So
Mhm.
I don't know. But boy, am I going to be
I
sleeping
mean,
hard
and that's the
tonight.
thing. Yeah,
I'm
I got
trying
to
to
looking
figure
at
this
that. I was like,
crap out.
I think we went a
Yeah,
little bit over that 45-minute mark. Corey.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that out and kind of let everybody just hash that over tonight. Everybody just think about that and join us tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for coffee, and we'll continue this on because
Mhm.
a normal person doesn't go in Lower Manhattan and stand in front of a courthouse and dump flammable liquids all over them and let themselves on fire for nothing. It can't be for
Mhm.
nothing. Okay.
Mhm.
So either he was coerced and controlled to do that, or he was set up and basically somebody else soaked him and threw the match, if you know what I mean. Okay. That's the only two scenarios I can see. Either he was completely or he was eliminated for what he found out.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know. Everybody think about that. Do your own research tonight, okay?
yep.
And we'll continue this in the morning. Thank you guys in the chat. You guys are fantastic as always. Okay. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna be coming back on at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning Eastern time.
Mhm.
Okay. So have your coffee and your drinks all ready, and somebody bring the donuts. And it ain't gonna
I
be me. Um, and
I
we'll continue this tomorrow morning because I think we all need to really think about this, the way our
Mhm.
world is going and the way our country's going. So
Yep. And I might be a few minutes late tomorrow. I got to drop Snow off at the groomer because my dumb butt forgot to do it this morning. So I'll be on. I might be a few minutes late, depending if I can get him. Yeah, I may have been preoccupied and lost track of time. Well, it doesn't help that I spent 2 days this week getting certified in my class 2 for my job, and then I've been nothing but hammered ever since that day. I mean,
oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm sitting on 7 installs waiting on me Monday morning. I'm just been bam, bam, bam. I mean, just nonstop busy, busy. 2 days off of work, going to classes, and come back to a list about this thick of stuff I've got to take care of. I completely space ghost a lot of stuff and other things were going on at the time. So, y'all, it was a blessing. Thank you guys for coming in. We'll see you in the morning. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. Jessica, keep up the good work. You're doing a great job. Do not mind any the namesayers. You're doing great. Keep up the
Yeah,
good work.
yeah, definitely. The last couple podcasts that Jessica's been doing have been pretty spot on there. Let me tell you.
Mhm.
So I was definitely impressed. So my hat goes off to her. So thank you,
Yeah.
Jessica, for all your hard work. Okay. And with that
Yes.
being said, I think we are going to see everybody tomorrow morning. We will see you then.
We'll see you guys.